Welcome to the new Cyber Frontier, bringing you the latest news, trends, and hottest topics that focus on advances in cybersecurity and cyber industry economics. Our expert yet down-to-earth hosts make cybersecurity straightforward. They ask the tough questions and make this challenging topic something that everyone can understand. Our candid approach lets guests open up on topics we would all like to see addressed. You can find us on the web at newcyberfrontier.com. That's www.newcyberfrontier.com. Now join today's host as he introduces the topic for today's new Cyber Frontier.
Welcome to today's episode of New Cyber Frontier. On today, we have the distinct honor to have our local ISSA chapter president, Ernest Campos, who is also very well credentialed, certified Chief Information Security Officer, a federally certified CIO, currently the functioning Chief Information Security Officer for the L3Harris Mosaic contract, and many of you in the government will know that that's a big thing. And formerly several startups. You said you were the COO of your own startup, but a long list of experience, and it's an honor to have you on, Ernest.
Thank you, Chris. It's an honor to be here with you today.
Definitely. So people always want to know, people in your position, how did we get there? What was your background? What was your interest as the little kid, the little Ernest,
Yeah.
Give us your background.
So growing up, I always had a strong STEM interest. If it was geeky, I was kind of into it. Building computers at a young age, taking computer classes when they weren't quite popular to do so at the time, but continued with that interest going into college, and then took that further into the Air Force. Once I did that, I worked in the computer communications field, and had some wonderful assignments to include 6 years at the White House, where I did presidential computer communications. That kind of launched me a little bit deeper into some of the more technical aspects of computers, more so than I'd ever been growing up and up until that point in my life. That enabled me to spend about 11 years in the Air Force, after which I joined industry working for Hewlett-Packard Company, supporting their intelligence community, specifically managing their complex computing solutions, which at that time included cybersecurity, as well as cloud computing and big data, and a number of other birthing large technologies at that time. Did that for probably the better part of 13 years, after which time I moved to Colorado Springs, started my own company, again aligned with cybersecurity, this time not just in general with all complex, but specifically and solely focused on cybersecurity. And from there, I was approached to join a company, Harris Corporation, now known as L3Harris Technologies, with their merger last year with L3, and I'm functioning as a program level cybersecurity CISO for a $2.2 billion contract that you mentioned, the L3Harris Mosaic contract. Again, all public information there, but it's a wonderful opportunity to use the talents that I've been blessed with throughout my entire career to hone it and to actually institute a grounds-up cybersecurity program. And it's thrilling, it's terrifying, it's exhausting, it's exhilarating, it's many things, but it's something I truly enjoy.
So contrast that, your own company and doing that startup, to what you do now. Tell me, what's the biggest contrast there?
Oh, the largest contrast would probably be the magnitude of impact. Not only am I doing things that are locally, but the implications of what I manage and oversee, and the teams of people who work with me, it has global ramifications. We are responsible for ensuring strong cybersecurity capabilities are instituted at a number of locations around the world. And not only that they're functioning with proper security measures put into place, but that we are meeting specific government-directed guidelines as we do it. A lot of turning parts, a lot of moving parts, very intricate, a lot of documentation, a lot of engineering, a lot of architecting and a lot of theory involved. And again, all of these things are just wonderful. And I got a great team of folks working for me. And it's been said, if you surround yourself with great talent, then you stand a likelihood of strong success. And I'm happy to say that that's the environment that we've put together.
Yeah. Let's take a break here from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Cyber Resilience Institute helps build strong cyber communities designed to prevent members from attack. Like building a neighborhood watch, it takes coordination and a sharing community to protect our identities and valuables in the virtual world. Typically, we hear that organizations know they need to do something to protect their cyber assets, but don't know where to begin. Let Cyber Resilience Institute help your community create an action plan. Cyber Resilience Institute will build your community or business marketplace so that it is designed to support a collective cyber defense. Contact them for more information at cyberresilienceinstitute.org.
Welcome back to New Cyber Frontier. On today with Ernest Campos, the local ISSA president for the Colorado Springs chapter. And before the break, I'd asked you to contrast your working as a startup versus the big corporation. It sounds like in that explanation that you find the larger corporation you're with now more fulfilling on a personal level.
I do, largely because I have had the ability to have a number of successes in my career, and I've enjoyed every one of those. But you know what? If you are the only one at the top of the mountain, it gets pretty lonely. So these days, I dedicate most, if not all of my time, to not only ensuring my responsibilities are being met, but that I'm helping other people to get to the top of their mountains as well. Call it a give back, if you will. But it's important to me that as I work with the community and a lot of the professionals within the community, where I see that they are striving for their next steps in their careers, I have the opportunity to help them reach that next step. And I make it a point in my life to do all that I can to make those opportunities available to others.
Yep, and I see that all the time. You're doing so many things for the local community, so many things for people around, and I applaud that and extend out the help in any way I can. And you've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Something you said though, I wanted to ask you about working at the White House. So, when's the tell-all book coming out?
Well,
what's that like?
Yeah, I'm sure that I've signed more than a few agreements to say nothing on those matters, but I will tell you that it was a wonderful experience. I was a young airman at the time going into that opportunity, not quite certain what I was getting into, a little bit ignorant of the world. The position did require me to travel extensively around the world throughout the years that I was with the White House, mostly in advance of the president or his staff, setting up the infrastructure in anticipation of their arrival, supporting them while they were on the ground, packing things up and moving to the next city as soon as they departed, over and over and over again, in addition to our in-town mission as we took turns trading off the opportunities to travel. That experience, however, was phenomenal for a number of different reasons. I talked about the complexity and how it really opened my eyes and expanded my interaction and exposure to various different technologies, both small and large, but doing so in an environment where there is zero opportunity for error, where perfection is expected at all times. It's incredible how perfection became my habit, and not just mine, but all of us who were assigned to work there. It was what we did, and anything less than that was just not acceptable. I've carried those instituted values throughout my career since then, and again, it serves as the mark that I try to strive for.
Interesting. It definitely would have, and I know I worked on nuclear power plants, and it definitely the same type of thing, where the wrong turn of a valve caused something that was unacceptable. Yeah. So I understand that you still work in the government. I purposely have kind of stepped away from the government because I like a little more forgiving, but that creative side. I'm more of the entrepreneur. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
but everybody has their own, and it takes all of us to make this community. And we have such a great community here in Colorado Springs, ISSA being a big part of that, where it's just that's the umbrella under which all the pieces kind of start, and have it, even if they're only a little bit, they're all connected through ISSA. And that chapter here being, I think, the third largest in the world, right? Out of what, 100, how many chapters are there worldwide?
Nearly 170, if I'm not mistaken.
170. And what, 2 of those are in Colorado as well, right?
Well, actually, Colorado is 4 chapters strong. As of just earlier this year, we our chapter, ISSA Colorado Springs, big brother to the newly minted ISSA Pueblo chapter. And so we've been assisting them with a lot of their startup activities. So they were the 4th one to be added to our state.
Yeah, but I mean, out of the top 3, 2 of them are in the state here, right?
Oh, indeed, yeah, Denver and ourselves.
Yeah, and where's the 3rd one? Where's that round out at?
I think it goes back and forth between Raleigh and North Carolina and Fairfax, Virginia. They're constantly flipping that coin. So
that makes sense, because that's the cyber areas out there in the East Coast. Yeah, definitely. But tell us about what chapter is doing around Colorado Springs, and what can we expect over the next time, and what has COVID caused us to do here as a sidebar.
Yeah, absolutely happy to do that. So ISSA Colorado Springs, we're in 2021 we're going to be celebrating our 30th anniversary as a information assurance, computer security, cybersecurity over the years, all those different titles and associations. 30 years of operation within the Colorado Springs region. In some capacity, you could say we're the OG of cyber for Colorado, and specifically Colorado Springs. And since us, a number of other organizations have spun up since then. But that has given us the ability to have a strong impact within our community. And that is a value that we have always held dear. As one of our guiding principles is to not just be an asset to our own chapter members, of which we are nearly 400 members strong within our region alone, but to also be a partner with all of our community partners. You go to other cities, and again, I've spent time in DC and Washington, DC and other locales where collaboration like what we experience here in Colorado Springs does not exist. It's more competitive. But out here in Colorado Springs, all of these different organizations band together to support one another in their own interests and endeavors. And that has afforded us the ability to partner with well over 25 different organizations based in Colorado Springs that we have a personal story with. Opportunities where we took on an effort to help them succeed in their objectives. They've done likewise with ours. And they're all on speed dial. We know them by first names, and we can call upon them at any given time. That makes for a strong community, and one that we're proud to be part of.
Yeah, and you have an upcoming event here we want to talk about, just kind of get the word out, because we've opened it up international with everything coming online. So go ahead and make that call as to when that's coming up and what we're doing with it.
Sure. And this has to do with the impacts of COVID. A lot of chapters within ISSA, unfortunately, were forced to suspend operations because of COVID. Again, they're not as large as we are, and so their ability to continue operations aren't as strong as other chapters, for example, ours. But we were able to quickly shift to a virtual format, which enabled us within 2 weeks' time, 10 days actually, go from pure in-person events to pure virtual events. So throughout the year since April, we've been hosting a number of bi-monthly webinars where we take the same type of content and material that we would normally present in person, and we now do so in a virtual environment. And that includes one of our 2 upcoming annual conferences. In September, we usually have a very large conference, nationally attended, focused purely on cybersecurity. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we've been forced to recently shift that to a pure virtual conference. As such, we've changed the dates. Instead of September, the event will now be taking place the week of November 16th. But we have gotten concurrence from all of our keynote speakers, sponsors, and exhibitors to shift their functions and support for this event to a pure virtual environment. So not only will our keynote speakers and breakout sessions and panel discussions be switched to virtual, but we will be providing virtual experiences for all of our exhibitors and sponsors as well. This is causing us to take what would normally be a 3-day event and expand it into 4 days. We're going to kick off with a virtual job fair through a collaboration we've put in place with Cleared Careers, LLC. They are a job fair engines located here in Colorado, very successful organization. And they will be promoting a Peak Cyber Symposium job fair for us on November 16th. The day after, on the 17th, through our relationships with Splunk and Epic Concepts, we're going to be hosting a fully online Boss of the Knock Capture the Flag event. This will be a full-day event with a number of prizes associated with it. So if anyone is interested in participating, it is purely from I've never touched a keyboard to the most savvy of technologists.
All right,
there's room
so I'm going to break for our sponsors, but we want to come back and talk about the rest of the event. So days 3 and 4. We'll be right back from our sponsors. Welcome back to New Cyber Frontier. On today with the local ISSA chapter president, Ernest Campos, and he was telling us about the event they just kind of announced on this show. We're talking about it for the first time coming up in November, but we talked about the first 2 days and then rounding off with a cyber capture the flag on the second day, a job fair on the first day, and now the third day getting into the program. Let's go ahead and continue.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, days 3 and 4 are dedicated to our keynote speakers, breakout sessions, and panel discussions. We've got a number of high-profile guest speakers who are going to be participating with us. What would normally be 8 hours of programming each day is now going to be stretched to 10, possibly 12 hours as we incorporate a number of virtual experiences with each of our sponsors and exhibitors. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity for individuals across the nation, if not the world, to dial in and participate. Early bird registration is nearly free for everyone. And even when it does come to cost when early bird is expired, the cost is nominal in terms of other types of conferences. So really is an open opportunity for just about anybody to be a participant in this event.
Interesting. So, and when does early bird open, close, and when what's your date?
Early bird registration is already open. Again, we were planning on an in-person event. So early bird registration will continue. Now that the event has been moved from September to November, we will have extended early bird. I anticipate regular registration to go into effect probably 30 days prior to the actual event. So still quite a bit of time to get registered.
Then we got some time to get the message out, and I think maybe we can get a little bit more larger reach here, because there's, that conference has been well attended around here, and like you said, it's economical. It's not, thousands and thousands you pay for some of the big conferences.
Indeed.
Yeah, yes, definitely. So other things, I'm just kind of looking at our list of things. So we've mentioned before. Talk about the cybersecurity leaders roundtable that we have here. You're kind of the first one I've had on from that group, and talk about what they're doing here in the Springs and what kind of influence you can see that having.
Indeed. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is worthy of being mentioned. We've talked about how we have such a strong cybersecurity presence here in Colorado Springs, a number of different organizations that participate in that. Recently, I'd say coming out of 2019, probably fall of 2019, there was some great ideas among some core individuals who decided all of us should band together. These organizations, although we're already supporting one another, maybe we should put together a leaders group, a representative from each of these organizations, to come together collectively at least once a month, if not more often, where we could discuss all that our organizations are independently doing in support of cybersecurity, both from an events perspective and from a tangible advancing the industry perspective. And since we've kicked off that event probably 6 months ago, the opportunities to collaborate have been phenomenal. It's been not a slow start, but try and keep up kind of start in terms of all the good that we've been able to do. We're supporting each other's activities and endeavors. We're sharing resources, personnel, funding, and assets and talent so that we can invest in advancing different cybersecurity initiatives, again, in terms of a solutioning, a technical and architecting, intellectual knowledge sharing, and even just from hosting various events. The opportunity to support one another really has assisted us greatly in our mutual pursuit to support our industry from within our own region.
Yeah, and that's really interesting just to add on to it, because myself being a part of that, we have outreach people, we have business development, local workforce, universities, cyber organizations, governmental and nonprofit organizations, information sharing, sponsored information organizations, the ISSA, the I2C, local I2C chapter, IEEE chapters, I think, are represented. But just basically everybody that has a footprint in cyber coming together, and some of our big institutions around here, like the United States Air Force Academy, also, and some of the military operations are really provide that kind of cornerstone. But I think there's a great synergy to be held there that you don't see in other areas and other local communities.
Indeed, yeah. And you know, we come rather humble when we get together. No one's agenda is greater than any other's, and it's not what it's what we can do for each other, and not what we can do for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm trying to think, we're kind of looking at just looking at our list of things that we have going on with ISSA. There's so many of them, so many organizations that you have strategic partnerships with. Maybe touch on some of those and what types of things other chapters might even start to look to do that they might have heard here.
Sure. So like many other nonprofits, we do rely upon the generosity of sponsors. But we also put together strategic relationships that are non-sponsored based. And really what we are interested in those types of relationships is tapping into the intellectual capital of various organizations, what they do at a private or public level, and making those services and capabilities available specifically for the members of our chapter. This adds value to our chapter experience, enables our members to also obtain various services that they would otherwise have to pay full dollar for outside of our relationship, or else would simply not have access to these services at all. So our relationships with organizations such as the National Cyber Exchange, Info Tech Research Group, Goodwill, and their joint campaign with Goodwill and their joint campaign with Google to provide no-cost cybersecurity Security Plus training seats is a big one that we are privileged to participate in, as well as our relationship with IAPP, which enables all of our members to have access at no cost to a lot of the content that they make publicly available at cost, but no cost to us. These types of relationships not only add value to their organization because we share of our resources and our memberships to them, so they get to tap into that, but we also get to tap into the resources that they have. As an example, Infotech Research Group has over 250 cybersecurity-based analysts. These are researchers who live and breathe research. Give them a topic and they want to learn about it. And that enables our members to give them a topic, give them a time frame, and these analysts will come back with as much detail and data as they can find, which our professionals, our members of our chapter are able to use as a part of their day-to-day job, maybe research papers, educational endeavors, whatever it is that they have the need for, no questions asked, and that's fostered through our relationship. And that's a service that's only provided to the general members of our chapter, not otherwise publicly available. Our relationship with National Cyber Exchange, NCX, gives us the ability to subscribe to vulnerability notifications in near real time with instructions on how best to respond to those. A lot of our professionals are engineers or architects, system administrators, and they need that type of information for their jobs on a daily basis. And it's really valuable for them to have those services. Again, not something that's available at no cost or even a low cost to the general public, but it is for our organization.
Definitely. So many things going on. I'm sure we missed some and whatever. But tell us about anything you would need people to reach out to you for, how they would get a hold of you, what support do you need, or what, we already talked about the event, anything else that people can become involved with?
Sure. Thank you. Always looking for interested organizations who would like to partner with us, either at a strategic level or at a sponsorship level. Of course, there are benefits associated with each, and sponsorships are quite lucrative, provide a great deal of promotion for the organizations that choose to sponsor us on an annual basis, and give us the ability to tap into their resources, their professionals, and give them an audience 400 people strong where they can communicate their own messages. Maybe maybe an at-cost organization, but their solutions can be presented to the members of our chapter as ways of handling real problems or challenges that exist within the cybersecurity industry. Our technical membership is very interested in hearing those types of presentations. So any collaboration we can do with any organization where we can give them the audience and give them the time where they can share and dispense talent and knowledge to our group is something we look forward to. Apart from that, our strategic partnerships, we're always looking to develop those, again, so it's mutually beneficial with other organizations. We do a number of monthly programmings where we host webinars, always looking for guest speakers at a 30, 45, or even 60-minute interval. We've got the audience, we've got the time, we've got the platform, we just need the speakers. And if anyone's interested in signing up for one of those, you're welcome to reach out to me specifically. I can be reached at president@issa-cos.org. Our website is www.issa-cos.org, and you can find lots more information there.
All right, that's a good way to reach out to you and good things that people can come to you for. So thanks a lot for joining today, Ernest. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. I've enjoyed this time.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Thank you for listening to New Cyber Frontier. Remember to follow or like our post and circulate each new show to your networks. We keep you informed, bring you the latest news, explore new trends, and find the hottest topics. With New Cyber Frontier, you don't have to be a computer or cybersecurity expert, just get plugged in. We encourage you to get involved. Tell us what topics interest you and join our mailing lists. You can find us on the web at www.newcyberfrontier.com. That's newcyberfrontier.com. Check out our previous interviews and please let us know if there are any topics that you would like to hear discussed. See you next time on New Cyber Frontier.